Hey guys, Carey Hodsden PGA here at the wonderful X Golf Chesapeake in Chesapeake, Virginia. Kind of far away from many of you I know, and closer to some others. I have a really interesting story to relate to you today. I'm going to call this lesson, let's call it swinging forward, okay? And I'm going to relate a little story to you before I get into the content. And it's about me as an athlete. I didn't play golf until after high school, so I learned a lot after that time frame, and then became a professional and played touring golf and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm still competing, but I'm mostly teaching, okay? And it's time to share this information I've learned over the last 35 years with everyone. So I'm at this point at some 15 years ago, and I was kind of taking a break from golf a little bit. Kind of running golf courses had kind of run its course for me in my head, and I was looking for another opportunity. So I got into real estate and of course kept on with the golf, with the PGA and those types of things, because I had ownership in a golf course. But neither here nor there. I really picked up tennis at a very, very fast pace, if you will, and I worked very, very hard to become good at tennis as quickly as I could, because I'm competitive, so why not, right? So I was able to compete in several national championships in my age division at the 4 or 5 level with the United States Tennis Association, USTA. So none of that really means anything other than the fact that I used to go to a teacher. His name was Charles. Charles, I think, was from Ghana, I believe, and he played, I think, for the Olympic team in Ghana. And tremendous player, absolutely tremendous player, and a very simplistic, direct teacher. So we would hit, and I'd hit, I'd be like, wow, this is great, he hits it so good, and I'm learning, and so on and so forth. And he would yell at me from across the court, and he would say, Carey, forward, move forward. So I used to hit my forehand, and I would be like this, and I'd kind of fall back and hit my forehand, and he's like, no, Carey, forward. Every single time he kept telling me forward. Do you know that when I was having my lessons with him, I never figured out what he was talking about? But like a few years later, it hit me what he was talking about. And what he was talking about was moving my body forward, my arms forward, everything forward. So instead of kind of hitting it like this, he meant to drive forward and hit it like this, okay? Forward, all right? And I just couldn't wrap my head around it back then, but then I finally figured it out, and that's when I became a pretty good tennis player and was able to compete at a much higher level. So I want to relate that to the golf swing, because I think so many people get caught up in the mechanics that they see on television, or that they hear gurus talk about, with this position, and we're lifting our arm, we're turning, all the different things that we're doing, moving our legs all different ways. The most important thing is that everything moves together, okay, in sequence, and then it moves toward the target, okay? And I think people forget that. And I think it's I'm getting ready to show you something that's going to kind of blow your mind, and it's going to reset and recalibrate how you look at the golf swing, okay? Because the golf swing, everybody's got their own idea of how to take it back, how to take it up, how to swing around, how to swing up and down, how to strike the golf ball. We're going to do it with this hand and that hand. And nobody really talks about the forward motion of the golf swing and how everything kind of needs to be moving together. The modern golf swing, the one that everybody's trying to do right now, a lot of people are trying to do, has some serious contradictions in it. Okay, and I'm talking about serious contradictions, okay? And then the kind of the older, more classic golf swing, that was, how these heel shafted clubs kind of came about, where it's kind of swinging around you, the toe is opening, the toe is heavy, so the toe swings through and closes and that kind of thing. That's more of a classical type golf swing, and that's how the golf clubs were designed to swing, okay? So in the classical golf swing, everything moves forward together and finishes together, okay? That's why we always harken back to people like Hogan and Sam Snead and Sarazen, and even Gary Player, that kind of walks through the shot, Even Nicklaus was very much together and all the way through and forward. Now, most of the guys that are trying to swing now, they have there's a specific move in the golf swing that is just, to me, it doesn't make any sense at all. It completely blows my mind. Now, I can teach it and I can show you how to do it and I can even do it. But it's a power robber, it's an accuracy robber, okay? And that's what I want to get to the crux of right now. Okay, so I want you and I, whoever you might be, to agree that moving our body forward in a rotational manner toward the target, the club forward, our arms forward, and everything forward makes sense. I mean, because if we can get our arms in front of us and our body behind that, it's going to push the club through faster as long as everything's going through together. Now, I hope all of us can, from a physics standpoint, can agree that that makes some sense, okay? Now, when we're doing a more modern swing, we're not doing that, okay? We're doing some crazy stuff with our hands and arms. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to prove to you right now that your hands and the club move backward in the modern swing and not forward together with your body. They separate and they move backward, okay? And this, I've never heard anybody ever talk about this, but to me, it was like the first thing that I saw when I started looking at the modern swing. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes no sense. So I'm going to explain to you what I see, all right? So in a classical golf swing, I'm going to show you face on, then I'm going to turn to the side, and I'm going to show you down the line a little bit, okay? So in a classical golf swing, let's use Ben Hogan as the classical golf swing, since that's who everybody seems to copy. All right, we line up, we get into a good posture, we get into a nice set position here, our hands kind of down the center, and we turn our shoulders and our body and load up on our right side. We get into a position where our wrists start to hinge, right, and go around us in this fashion, going around our body, okay? And then we turn through the golf ball with both our hips by corkscrewing into the ground and bringing our arms back in front of us and our right shoulder and our right side back in front of us. And then our hands rotate, hit the golf ball and rotate off to the left, right, and then finish mirroring our backswing. I mean, I think we can all agree that's kind of what Hogan did. So he gets here, goes back here, it looks flat to you, right? He kind of recenters here a little bit and then corkscrews into the ground right here, right? Brings his right side around, okay? His left hand turns down with centrifugal force of the club coming around, and then the club moves off into an extended position on the through swing, and then it mirrors the backswing going through. Okay, so we've established that. Everything is moving forward together, okay? Everything. We open the club so that it can close going through, and everything's moving forward together. Now the modern swing, okay, and let me do this down the line so you can kind of see what it looks like. Let me go back to the classical swing here, and I want you to take a peek at this really quick so that you kind of understand where I'm going with this when I get to the modern swing. So I'm back here, I'm set up, okay, and I'm ready to go here. I go this way, I do my wrist set, I start turning the club around my body. I get into what looks like a very laid off and flat position to you, but it's just around my body, okay? And then I start to corkscrew in with my legs in through here. My arms come back down and start to move into my body. My shoulder and my right side start to come around, and the club comes around. And then I hit with the back of my left hand and my palm as I'm going through. The club moves off to the left and then mirrors what I did on the backswing. Okay, so that's your kind of your classical golf swing. Okay, everything moves together around. Now here is the more modern golf swing. I'm going to start down the line so you can see the angle of the club. On the classical golf swing, I went like this, right? We're toe up, right? And then we're around, okay? The modern golf swing, we're separating our arms from our body here almost immediately, and we're trying to keep our toe down, or I'm not going to call it hooded, but we'll call it angled more down. The toe is angled at kind of a 45-degree angle more towards the ground or towards the ball at this point, okay? Then once we get to this point, we allow ourselves to rotate up and our arms leave our body. Okay? But as we're doing that, as we go up to leave our body, we start to move forward and the club has to shallow out. It has to shallow out because I started here. This is my plane line right here, right? I go here, and in the classical golf swing, I go here, so I'm on plane. In the modern golf swing, I go here, I go vertical to get my arms up above me. Everybody thinks that creates a lot of power, you know, and Davis Love proved that it does create some power the way he did it, but he was built very unusually, and he was able to do amazing things, okay? So here and up, now I've got a vertical shaft pattern here going up on the backswing. My arms are separating from my body here, but as I get up to the top, I start making my transition. As I make my transition, and you guys have seen this, we go here and up, and as I'm going up, I make my transition to the left so I can get my weight over there, right? And when I do that, I've got to shallow the club because I can't come back down like this. If I come back down like this, how am I going to get back to the ball? I mean, you guys can see this right now. You can look down at the ground and look at the ball. And if I start right here and I go this way and I go up like this, how am I going to get back down to the golf ball? I can't. I have to get the club back on plane somehow so that when I make my shift, this club has to fall back. And what you guys hear when you're watching television and listening to other people and listening to all these other gurus, they're saying shallow the club. We want to shallow the club, okay? Well, get a load of this. When I go back here, this thing's closed, I go up and I shallow the club. This club is moving backwards and away from me. It's not moving forward. Okay? I mean, it absolutely makes no sense. All I'm doing is robbing myself of power, robbing myself of sequence, and I'm trying to get the club in a position to allow it to go back in and hit. By that time, I do have some hips that are going to go through to add to my power, but it's mostly going to be, you know, once I shallow this thing out, it's going to be hands and arms with the rotation through, you know, or I'm going to try to roast my hips through as fast as I can and literally destroy my lower back, okay? This is why we got so many lower back problems and guys are popping hamstrings and things, you know, because it's not built to do that, okay? Our bodies aren't built to do that. So what I'm trying to say is watch it from this angle now. I go through, this is the modern swing now. I go through, I go here, this is the classical swing and around. Modern swing, I'm going here, right? Face is kind of toe down. I'm going up, right? But I can't come back down this way because it's too vertical. So I've got to, when I start to move to the left, I've got to shallow this out. And as I'm moving forward, my whole body is moving forward here. This bloody thing is moving backwards and down. Okay? If my club is moving backwards and down while my body's moving forward, then the club is not moving forward. Okay? It makes no sense. When you think about physics and you think about the economy of motion, okay? Being as efficient as physically possible with your body or with any tool or with anything that you do in life, everything needs to move in the same direction, you know, to be efficient, right? I mean, you could say, well, like Chevy said, you know, the shortest point between the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line, you know, in the other direction. But realistically, what I'm trying to say is when you get up here, when you drop this in as you're moving this way, you're just losing everything you got, and then you're going to have to sling this and sling everything to catch up to grab your timing. Okay, and to hit the ball in the center of the face. This is not effective, okay? This is not consistently effective. The modern swing has a lot of flaws. You're separating from yourself. Your arms and your hands and the club head are moving backwards as you're moving forwards. I mean, there's all kinds of pitfalls in this golf swing. Now, I'm not saying the classical swing doesn't have some pitfalls as well. I mean, you got to learn timing. You've got to get these things in the right order. to make it make sense. And you've got to figure out how to keep your arms and your hands in front of you. Not easy, okay? Not easy. But it's a hell of a lot easier to be consistent once you learn it, when everything's moving in the same direction, okay, than it is when things are not moving together. All right, now this has been kind of a short lesson. I've done a lot of talking, I haven't done a lot of demonstrating, but what I want you to do is I want you to take some video of yourself, go out there, take some video of yourself, down the line and facing, and then go watch the video, slow it down to 25% speed, watch the video, and watch what I'm talking about, okay? If you get like this, up here, like the modern swing, and you start to go forward as you're going up, this club is going to fall behind you, and you got to speed it. You got to find a way to get everything back in front of you. Whereas if you go with a more classical golf swing and you go here and you go around, you're already here. All you're doing is turning and swing like a baseball bat on an angle, on your spine angle, okay? And everything then is getting in front of you. Bang, okay? Bang, and then all the way around, okay? So everything goes together. This is why there is, once you learn it, once you learn a more classical golf swing, there is ridiculous power and ridiculous accuracy in it. The sound it makes is nutty once you learn how to hit it, okay? So this is what I want for you. I don't want you to flail about, with opposing forces in your golf swing. I want everything to move together, okay? So maybe some questions about this. As always, give me a holler, comments down below, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. If you don't like what you're hearing, subscribe anyway. But until the next time, which is going to be very, very soon, I'm Carey Hodsden, PGA at X Golf Chesapeake. Hit 'em long and straight. See you soon.